Hi everyone, this is Lisa Haven and I've got a crucial report to share with you, and I'm going to ask you to hold on tight through its entirety. I've actually put this on the back burner for the past couple of days because I wanted to really delve into this research, but what I discovered, and it's no joke, it's literally mind-blowing, and I've not heard anyone talk about it before. So what is this topic? Well, it's weapons that the Antichrist and false prophet will use. Parapsychology, what the New World Order is preparing for. And I've got evidence and documented proof to prove exactly what I'm about to show you. Now, what is parapsychology? If you're not familiar with that, it is the investigation of the paranormal and psychic phenomenon, including telepathy, precognition, clairvoyance, near-death experiences, psychokinesis, apparitional experiences, and so on and so forth. Now, as a Christian, we believe that any of that stuff is, quite frankly, tapping into the demonic world. I agree. I believe that. I do believe that that is what is happening here. Now, God can speak to us as well, and that's a topic for another day. But that said, here's the thing. If the globalists are studying this in detail, because I've got over hundreds of reports, they've only released a piece of the puzzle, a piece of the pie, which I'm going to go through 6 or 7 of them with you that I've read through thoroughly. But in this particular report, when they're studying this, we have to be aware as Christians and say, okay, we can't just ignore that and pretend it's not going on. We need to understand what the enemy is going to do with this kind of thing. So it's a clear line. Now, God can use different things as well. I mean, he does speak to us. He can give us hints of things to come. That's the gift of prophecy, but this is on a whole other demonic level. Let me just put it that way. Now, again, I want to just encourage you to hang with me through the end of this video. Towards the end, I'm going to reveal exactly how the Antichrist weapons are revealed through parapsychology, because you're in for a bumpy ride. Nobody has made this link before, but let's just delve into those documents. All right, so here we are on theblackvault.com. Great website. I highly, highly encourage you to come check it out. But this is where I started my research, and I wanted to look through the parapsychology documents. And here are some, we're going to go through some of these right here, but it starts all the way through 1953 and then goes to 2005. And these are just a piece. Please keep that in mind of what exists out there. They're not sending us all of it, but there are literally hundreds to maybe even thousands of these studies done globally. And as I went through these, I found some pretty interesting things. But let's start first with the testing for extrasensory perception with a machine. All right, so here's the report. What I want to do is just kind of give you a brief summary. If I went through each and every dot and tittle, this would be 50-hour long video, literally, probably about how long it took me to read through all of this information. But in this report, it basically reveals, it's a report put together in 1953. This is how far back this stuff dates. You can see that there. But it includes an entire panel of people that they want to use to study this particular extrasensory perception phenomenon. Well, who are the types of people that are doing this particular study? Well, psychologist, electronics engineer, a physicist with a background in statistics, and a mathematician. A lot of the times, this is a common link through the reports of who is actually conducting the studies. Now you know. But in this report, it talks about extrasensory perception, or ESP, which is basically the ability to know things such as what another person is thinking or what will happen in the future. Subjects are also tested on clairvoyance, precognition, and general extrasensory perception. Now on page 11, and there's some photos here that you guys can delve through of how they actually do it. But on page 11, scrolling down to there, it reveals one of the main goals, and I think this is just an important part overall, but it says they wanted to find out if certain personality traits or profile traits might give a good clue as to who is more prone to an ESP sort of situation. Now, this report goes on to detail 37 people that completed that activity. Now, moving on to the next document here. This one is called Biological Radio Communication. This was completed in 1962, May of 1962. Not a real long report, but it basically answers the question, can living organisms transmit signals to a distance? Now, scrolling down a little bit to page 5 and beyond here, I'm just going to summarize this. I'm not going to review it, but you can come here and read it. I highly recommend it. But it describes a real account of a man who experienced electromagnetic sense with a dog. Somehow, what they did in the report is they connected the man with the dog, be it through implants, be it through wiring, and they gave the man a number and said, here's number 14, check out this number. He looked at this number, dog's in a separate room, dog can't sense it. I would never be wired to a dog, but nonetheless, he looks up this 14 number, he flips the paper over, writes 2 sevens, basically. He split number 14 into half and then put it in his pocket. Well, a couple hours later, I guess the dog, or I don't know how much time passed, the dog comes back out of the room. They think the experiment is over. Well, the dog goes to the young man and barks 7 times, pauses and barks 7 times again. This is the kind of level of stuff that they're dealing with. And keep in mind, again, this was in 1963. Can you imagine what they have today? That's an actual account. Moving on to the next document here on the Black Vault. Scientist advances hypothesis. Quantum telepathy tells the doctor of psychological sciences. Now let me fix the screen here. Now this is kind of a big print here, as you can see, but this particular report delves into information about Einstein's Podolsky-Rosen paradox, EPR, and I believe this was in the 1970s. As you can see here, it kind of gets a little bit further in this report. But what this basically delves into is quantum telepathy, or well, basically, that is back to the Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen paradox. What is that? It's an influential thought experiment in quantum mechanics with which Albert Einstein and 2 of his colleagues, Podolsky and Nathan Rosen, claim to demonstrate that the wave function does not provide a complete description of physical reality. The essence of the paradox is that particles can interact in such a way that it is possible to measure both their position and their momentum more accurately than Heisenberg's uncertain principle allows. So it kind of goes on, but it basically delves into telepathy furthermore on page 8 and how some of those experiments were a success. But I don't want to focus too much on that one. I'll leave more information on my report. This one, Parapsychology, fact or fiction? This one was interesting to me as well. This was released in the 1970s. You can see the dates here stamped on it, but in the 1970s, this particular one, 1977, but it's an analyst conducted in the 70s addressing the question if parapsychology is fact or fiction. It asked and addressed the certain question, and it says out of 1,500 scientists that they asked, 25% actually believe in the phenomenon, while 75% just think it's chance. And that's right here out of the 1,500. You can see that. You can pause it if you want to read that. But it goes on to talk about telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, use of the divining rod, and all the others that you see here. You can pause it. But it actually details reports and experiments and says that these have been happening, these types of experience have been happening since 1982. And here's where it says that existed since 1882, excuse me, not 1882. Can you imagine the kind of technology they have today with these experiments? Page 6 here further details that there are over 240 laboratories in 30 countries, including Bulgaria, Germany, US, and the old Soviet Union. And this report delves into a lot more information on page 10 of this report. And I just ask you, if you want to read through this, pause it, or go back and check it. But it speaks about a telepathic experiment that was conducted, get this, between Earth and Apollo 14 here at the bottom by Edgar Mitchell. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating, but interesting nonetheless. And then page 12, I also found some good information. It details some of the methods used to study the effects. And it says how in the olden days, they would use more primitive things such as playing cards, suggestion of thought, dreams. And then later on, they still incorporated that, but they used more technical measures such as, computers and laser technology. It goes on to say electromagnetic radiation, high frequency currents, and all those sorts of things. So there's a tidbit on that report. Moving back. Now, Soviet and Czechoslovakian parapsychology research is the next report that I delved into. Now, please hold on. Please, please, please. The next report is the one I'm warning you about. But this one kind of ties into it. You know what? Actually, let's go to that one first, and then I'm going to delve back to this one. This is the one I told you about. The one human problem, its solution, and its relation to the UFO phenomenon. This ties in 100% with biblical prophecy and with that of the Antichrist. I was literally, my jaw hit the floor when I read some of the things entailed in this. But there's the title there. Thomas Bearden is the author. And please keep in mind, this was conducted in 1977, this report. But I spent a lot of time on this one, and I'm going to summarize it, but I encourage you to come back and verify what I'm saying. But basically, it's divided into 7 stages. Here's his 7 stages. Develop a planet. Primordial atmosphere and ocean. I guess we got that out of the bag. Appearance of amino acids. Appearance of self-replicating supermolecules. Formation of one-celled organisms. Formations of multicellular organisms, which the author claims that that's where we're at. And then number 6, that's the one I want to focus on. Brain linkage of an intelligent technological species. The omega or allness stage is the 7th stage. Now, number 6 specifically focuses on the fact that the linking of individual brains in the species into one singular brain. That is the idea that is pushed here, but let me show you in the report. Here it says, the 6th stage consists of the linkage of all individual brains in the species into one single superbrain. Thus, a super being having absolute control of space and time results. It requires a technological species to accomplish linkage, resulting in multi-dimensional, eventually non-physical superbeing. When technology is sufficiently advanced for linkage to be developed, the power of the species tools, he's saying tools as in our everyday tools, that man can develop tools. We can create computers, we can create technology, we can create hammers and nails, that kind of tools. And he goes on to state that later. But it says the power of the species tools is so great that its own self-destruction is imminent. Thus, an advanced technological civilization is near linkage or it's near Armageddon. And in either case, advantages as a limited 3-dimensional species on the 5th stage. This accounts for the notable absence of technological species such as man in the observed universe. The author goes on to present quantitative argument for the existence of 6-stage beings. Granted the existence of one, the existence of others will follow. Here also pay attention. The UFO phenomenon are consistent, who I believe to be Nephilim and fallen angels. They're not from another planet. They're interdimensional Nephilim fallen angels. But the UFO phenomenon are consistent with the hypothesis that a 6-stage super being is stimulating the deep collective unconscious of humanity in preparation for an eventual linkage of man into a single super being at the 6th level. 6th level. Now, it gets into detail in this, and it's quite a few pages here, but let me put it this way. Back in 1977, our government was studying how, with this particular author, I guess not so much the government, but with this author, they were studying how they can link brains together, all human species. Now, he details this through the report. This is what he says. In order to achieve peace on earth, perfect world, a sinless man, if you will. There was only one sinless man on the earth, and that was Jesus Christ. But he goes to detail and says, look, all the world wants world peace. They want people to be happy. They want people to be peaceful. They want people not to kill, murder, rape, rob, steal. And he says, I have the answer to that problem. This is what the author is detailing, and my mind's going 50 miles an hour. But nonetheless, he details how there's only one solution. And he says world leaders and world dictators and governments have tried for years to make man obedient, his word. And all this is on page 2 and 3, as well as the introduction, as well as page 7 of the report. Read them. But I'm kind of summarizing them here. But he details how we have a solution to this problem. What is his solution? Well, to link all our brains together, be it whatever form, be it a chip implant, mark of the beast style here, I'm thinking. This is a weapon that the Antichrist to use to get people on his same mind track. But nonetheless, this is what was pushed in 1977. Imagine what they have today. But linking brains together, and then they have one super brain. They're all one person. That's what's pushed. What is the Christian view on that? Well, here we have God, and God in us, God, we're not gods, but we follow, the Lord, and the Lord's inside of us. He lives inside of us if you are a Christian. And we have that, direct contact with the Lord. We have that conversation with the Lord. But Satan is a mimicker of God. So what is he trying to do here with such technology? Link his followers to him? Well, a lot of people believe that the mark of the beast is going to go something like that. That when you get this chip implant, you don't want to take it out. You won't take it out. In fact, you'll want it in. Why would you want it in? Well, some kind of technology such as brain linkage could absolutely accomplish that, because the author goes on to detail that this particular brain linkage makes you think that everyone is you. You're one and the same. You're one person. In other words, all evil would be gone. All sin would be gone. All disobedience would be gone. All killing, rape, murder would go away. And we would live one big, peaceful, happy family. Why? Because your neighbor is you and you are your neighbor. You won't hurt yourself. You won't hurt your neighbor. You won't kill yourself. You won't do this kind of stuff. So he says that is the answer to peace on earth as it sits. And that is what is in the hands of our elite, this particular study. And I'm just thinking, whoa, that's a major weapon that the Antichrist or even false prophet can use to almost zombify and control those who take the mark. And in my personal belief, I don't believe they'll take it out. But that is an eerie line, and that is what is being attributed. Now, I told you I've heard nobody talk about this particular, we've heard of the mark of the beast, but have you heard of the technology, brain linkage stuff like this, an actual documented proof that they're studying this kind of stuff? That is what is major. That is what is huge. But it's definitely a weapon of the Antichrist, a weapon of the false prophet that they can use to accomplish their task. Anyhow, I wanted to bring you all that information, and there's going to be a lot more on my Freedom Nation News. Make sure you go to my brand new website, subscribe there, freedomnationnews.com. Also, if you haven't subscribed to me here on YouTube, please do so. Just click that subscribe button now. Also, be prepared with food storage. Things are getting crazy these latter days, and you need to be ready with food. Please get prepared. I personally use foodforliberty.com/haven. I've got a website there. There are some specials going on. You can definitely check those out. Also, getthetea.com has great supplements for your body, for your health. I use a ton of them. Eighth Element is a good one for all those things, pesky little things that you can't find fixes for. And check out that one as well. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. This is Lisa Haven signing off.